Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Lizeth Ortega. I am the president for the Student Association, and we are hosting today our first webinar, which is called Get Involved at OSS, Part 1. And the purpose of this webinar is to highlight the importance of student involvement. And so we have a great list of panelists here today to join us in this conversation. And so now I'm gonna hand it over to our co-host for today, Corey. If you wanna go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, I'm Cesare. I'm the Interim Director of Student Life here at SUNY Oswego. So I'm a part of Student Association. So let's meet some of our panelists. Let's start with Ajsa.
Hi, my name is Ajsa, and I am the PR Director and the Media Manager for HerCampus Oswego.
All right, Kayla.
I am Kayla Hollley. I am the President of PRSSA.
Okay, and Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Keating. I'm the Director of Public Relations for the Film Club.
And Dev.
Hi, I'm Dev. I am Director of Public Relations for the Psychology Club.
We're so happy to have all of you guys here with us today. Thank you everybody for joining too. So the way that this is gonna work is I'm gonna ask you guys a few questions and we're just gonna answer and talk it out related to student involvement here on campus. So the first question is related to COVID-19. Describe your role on campus and how it was affected as a result of the influx of COVID. How did you manage to still perform your duties pertaining to your role while working remotely? Anybody can answer these questions.
I mean, I can start. So I took on the role of President for PRSSA earlier in the semester, last semester, since we had moved off campus and the seniors were, focusing on graduating. And honestly, the position of president is a lot of online and organizing and networking and connecting with alumni. So I think it might have even been easier for me because I was going to be on my laptop anyway. And that's how I plan on taking on this coming semester.
Nice.
For me personally, since I run public relations for the film club, at this particular time before COVID hit, we were working on getting more members of the film club, seeing what people wanted to do, and specifically implementing more activities that would get students more engaged. So at this point, we were really amping up the film club and improving it by a lot. And we had finally got our meetings on track. A lot more people were going. We had a lot of events planned, and that was exactly when COVID hit. So obviously, it definitely changed the way of our club a lot because we had all these in-person things planned, working with partners and stuff like that. So it was challenging moving to online, but we were able to have, actually we had an online film festival, which would usually be in person. So we were able to work around the challenges and move things online.
Nice.
Yeah. Like Julia said, for our club, we really couldn't continue, but we had a trip to go to the Brain Museum in Buffalo, and that got cut short. So that was really bumming, but it was a little hard for us to go do it online and everything, but yeah.
So for my club, we write articles and whatnot. So sending articles online was definitely not a hard transition to do because we already did that anyways, because our whole site is online. But the meeting process kind of was eliminated altogether. And we kind of just kept our contact through our group chats and everything in that realm. My role, I kind of having to the Instagram and everything in that sense was definitely more harder for me because I wasn't having the access to all the other members, bouncing off ideas and kind of using each other. It was kind of just I've used this time to prep everything and kind of get that all ready. And so, yeah.
So for everyone, it's kind of been, you had to get creative. It's been like that for Student Association too. We had our long meetings over Zoom. So the next question is, why do you think it's important to get involved during your first year of college?
I guess I'll go. I think this is a really great question. I think it's so important to get involved, especially in your first year. I can personally relate to this because in high school I was very socially awkward and more shy. And when I came to college as a freshman, I was especially nervous to get involved in clubs because I didn't know much about them and everything like that. But especially my sophomore year, I began to get involved in a lot of clubs and activities compared to my freshman year. So after I got involved in all these activities, like my entire college life completely changed. Like I think that getting involved in activities will completely change your entire college experience and just make it so much better because not only do you get to learn the skills for whatever activity you're doing, but that's where you meet most of your friends, how you get to decide if you're undeclared, it's how you decide what you're interested in the future. So I think clubs, activities, sports, Greek life, like anything, any way to get involved will really help your college experience.
Yeah, and you want to get involved earlier because you don't want to be in your senior year. Like it's not bad if you're just if you haven't been able to do it in your previous years, but you don't want to be in your senior year just trying to find out what works with you. If you start from the beginning, you can dip your toes in different clubs and organizations, and then by sophomore year, maybe you can find something you really enjoy, and because you don't want to be in certain orgs that you don't feel comfortable in. You want something that you enjoy doing and you have a passion for. So I think being involved in the beginning, trying to find different clubs, trying to go outside your comfort zone and all that. So it's very important to start from the beginning. You don't want to wait till like your senior year and everything.
I agree with like both of you guys. Going off with like Julius in the beginning, I was the opposite. When I was the first year, I had like first year fever. I was in every organization and I loved it. And going with like what Dev said afterwards, when I became a sophomore, that's when I really like honed in on like what I loved and I really found like my passion. And through like my involvement in HerCampus and PR is what made me announce my PR double major because I found out like that was something I was really interested in. So I really feel like having that availability of having organizations really helps you discover like more of who you are.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think all of us mentioned that something was canceled, some big event was canceled this semester. So getting involved in these organizations opens up your opportunities to not only network, meet new people, find out what you're interested in, but learn more outside of school, something that you wouldn't learn in the classroom. Like joining these organizations, you're going to be able to take like trips to conferences and like Deb was saying, they were going to take a trip to the Brain Museum, stuff that you wouldn't see on campus that you get the opportunity to do.
Yeah, that's very true. Our conference of the SUNY SA conference got canceled as well because that was in April. So we totally get that here at SA. So what, in your opinion, is the most important aspect of student involvement? How are you working to create these relationships in the upcoming semester?
I'll start. I think like a huge thing with organizations in general is like community. Like not only do we think like do things that we're passionate in, we have that kind of community on campus. And I feel like going online, that sense of community is still like a possibility to have because, you know, you have group chats, you have Zoom, like even through like a lot of us are the PR, like the whole social media aspect, like you kind of still have that connection, even if it's in like a different format. I think it's really interesting to be able to like utilize like those different ways and outlets and still create that community aspect. And
Yeah, and there's always like a lot of other ways to help and be involved in the community. There's like you can donate. There's a lot of things going around now, so I think we can find other ways to get involved in the community without being physically there. But it's gonna be a little hard, but we can do it. We've done it for like the last semester, so we can do it this semester too.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the most important aspect of student involvement is not being afraid to try new things. There are so many clubs, activities, sports, Greek life, like there are so many things you can get involved with that don't be afraid to try new things. In the worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you can always switch to something else. And also finding out what kind of involvement works for you. So choosing things based on what you're interested in, like sometimes sports doesn't work for everyone, but maybe another club can work for that person. And then getting involved early on is also a great thing. And moving this online, I think it's important to have like maybe a social media presence or a way that you can connect with students while still being online. Again, everyone's still figuring this out, but yeah, that's one way to stay connected.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. In Oswego has so many organizations. My favorite part of the year is the involvement fair. Even though I'm in an organization, I like to just walk around to see what organizations I've never heard of, something I might be interested in that I didn't even know that we offered.
Yeah, I mean, I've planned the fall involvement fair for the past 2 years, and that's literally my favorite part. That's why I love this job so much, is I love seeing who's involved, what clubs there are. There's truly a club for everybody at this school. It's seriously that way. That's how I feel about it. So considering the times that we're in, what can you guys tell students who are watching this to encourage them to get involved as we return back to college?
I would say that getting involved in organizations on campus, like everyone has said already, it increases the value of your education and your time on campus. So if eventually we do go back to the normal times of being on campus and meeting in classrooms and stuff, if you start now, you'll have that, then you'll have friends like immediately once you can start hanging out with people on campus. And so I think it's important, even though we are online, to still get involved and just make friends, really.
And with the whole college experience, it's not just about going to classes. You want to be able to do something extracurricular activities. You don't want with just classes, it might get boring. It might be a burden. So with being involved in different organizations, having your mind to something else in different projects, I think that could lift a couple of the like classroom struggles and just have something to look forward to besides homework, schoolwork, and all that. So being involved can really help with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like what Develyne said. Where like having that different organization that you're in, that really personalizes like your college experience. So it's like more than just classes. And so I think during like this online time, I think it's more like prevalent for you to like join organizations and kind of have that community, because like you get to work on your passions, work on like a resume, things of an aspect where like it may be harder to make friends right now because of all the different restrictions we have, that like having that time that you would have like an organizational meeting or things that kind of realm will give you like that that socializing that you're missing, and would be a great way to make friends.
Yeah, and to go off of that, this semester is going to be new to all of us. So none of us has had to experience this online form in college before. So don't be afraid to ask for help. There's so many resources that can help you. So if you're like a new student coming to Oswego, don't be afraid to ask about resources, how you can find out about clubs, because there's so many people that will be willing to help you.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal. Always ask somebody what their favorite club is, what clubs they're in. As soon as you meet someone on our campus, everyone pretty much always explains to you what club they're in, how much they love it. Like, I'm that person completely. Like, I'll be giving tours and I'm like, I'm in student association. This is what it is. Tuesday nights, 6 to 9, land again. I'm just that person in general. So definitely creating that for these people, even through online connections, is so important this semester. So now that we're living in a more digital world, what are your guys' plans to spread the word about your clubs and organizations to promote like your programs, your events, everything that you're having online?
Somebody said it before, social media. It's going to play a really big part. I don't think we used our Instagram as much, but we are definitely going to be on top of that. Twitter, I don't think we have a Twitter at the Psychology Club. It would be really nice to just have all these social media accounts, and because we're not going to be physically meeting one another, so to keep in contacts with our members and our fellow e-board members, it would be nice to just put the word out there through the social media accounts, because everybody's going to be on there. If they're not physically out there, they're going to be on their phones, they're going to be on their laptops. So I think social media is going to play a really, really big part.
Yeah, and another really handy tool for organizations is Laker Life. And I think that that's how we're going to try to host the involvement fair, like virtually. I think that's going to be huge for new students coming in, especially to be able to go on. So shout out, make sure that your Laker life is updated. And also, if you saw the email from Mike, you can create a little video for your organization for students to get to know you better. I think that's going to be a huge tool. I hope that orientation leaders and staff are going to point students towards that to find out more about all the organizations, since they don't have the involvement fair in person.
I definitely agree with that. I think social media is a big thing now that we're online, because that's a great way to connect with students. Another thing is each member of the e-board reaching out to what they're involved in. So for example, I'm on the e-board of the ASL club, and also I'll be an RA. So maybe in my building, I could reach out to my residents, let them know about film club. In my other club, I can let them know, and vice versa. And like the president of our club, Dontre, he's in a fraternity, so maybe he'll talk to people in that organization and tell them about film clubs. So we can use all of our connections to let people know about the different organizations we have through that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We're like, just like Julia was saying, like my organization, we are really involved in like other things. Like I'm also an RA, and like I was definitely going to like write email out to my residents, like have it in the email, like these organizations I'm in, like even though the involvement fair is online, like you can reach out to me and like talk to me about it if you're like not sure what's going on, etc. But then also obviously social media, but then also like our organization is like really like intertwined with like English and writing. So like I know like we can have the department send out an email, like kind of shout out the clubs that are like correlated to that, and things that kind of aspect to kind of like give them different ways to discover who we are.
And even then, I feel like the tools that we're going to be gaining right now for our clubs is going to help us so much in the long run. Like student association, especially when we sit at the involvement fair, people walk up to us and they're like, "So what do you guys do?" And we're like, "We're student government." And they're like, "Oh, we're looking for SAPB," because they don't know who we are. So I think that tools like that will help even every single club, every club that we have, to get more members, because then people will know what we're truly about, which is, I think, great. So I know you guys have mentioned Laker life a bit, and you've also mentioned social media, but as student leaders and SUNY Oswego, what type of changes are you looking to implement in your organizations to keep your members actively involved?
So I can say for my organization, we usually do a networking event that we go away for, like it's a little weekend trip. And I'm really trying this semester to put something like that online. And also I think teaming up with other organizations is going to be so much easier. Anyone that brings in speakers or alumni, it's not only going to be easier, but it's going to be cheaper on the budget. So I feel like as organizations, this has really broadened our opportunities. We're just trying to make the most of it. And I think it opens up how many events we can do and stuff like that.
Yeah, going with what Kayla said, we use a lot of SUNY Oswego staff, professors for our guest speakers. So I think it would be really easier to have a Zoom meeting where they just pop up and tell us and speak with our members. And we've always done t-shirts every year, so I think we can still do that. And with them having their t-shirt, we can find like a day where we hand them the t-shirts. As we don't know all the specifics, but with guest speakers, some activities, we've done bingo. That's not too hard to do via Zoom meetings either. So it's just the trips, like the going away trips, will have to be cut. But after that, it should be a lot easier.
I agree. I think Zoom meetings and apparel are really good ideas. And speaking for the ASL club, we usually have a guest speaker each year. So if we can find a way to do that online, that would be great too, to keep people engaged. So I agree with what everyone else said as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like we were trying to have like different events this upcoming semester, but obviously because of Corona, it's definitely gonna be different. But just like what Kayla was saying, how like the prices for having a different person come in and kind of giving like speeches or different kind of ways like that will be cheaper. So we were looking into like getting a speaker to come and like have a Zoom meeting, and that's definitely something we've never done. So I feel like that would be like giving us a new opportunity that we've never experienced. So I feel like having like that way right now will definitely be like great.
Yeah, that's definitely great. So what are some tips and tips and tricks you guys are going to implement in the fall semester that you can recommend to other student officers who are watching this webinar?
Communication. We have to be able to communicate with our EBO members. Either have their phone numbers or have a chat. Like for the psychology club, we have the GroupMe chat where we can just put ideas together. So I think communication can play a really big key. Keep updated with all the things that are going on, and yeah, that's really it for me anyway.
I agree with that, and also your point about having apparel, like having stuff like that to keep students interested in the club, like something physical to have. I think communication is big too, not only with the e-board members, like you said, having a group chat, but also something I found helpful is really get to know the members of your club and see what they want to do. So like reach out to them and see what kind of activities they might want to have. So if you have like an Instagram, you could create a poll, see like what people are most interested in so that you can kind of revolve your activities around the group interests.
Yeah. Sorry, Ajsa, you can go.
Okay, I'll go. So I was with what Julia said, I agree. Like a lot of our Instagram is really interactive. So it's like, oh, slide up, or like this new article's out, go read it, or like things that kind of realm that you would kind of like comment or like needs the involvement of everyone. So for us with our members, like we definitely like open it up to everyone, like, oh, what would you like to like submit to the Instagram, or like, oh, like, do you want to do an article together? Like things that kind of realm. We always try to like make it interactive, and I think now really push us to do more like collaboration together.
Yeah, I would just what I said earlier, look at this as an opportunity to expand your horizons, your opportunities, your members, everything. Most events really around the United States are going to be online, at least for this semester, which makes them easier to access. If you have a national organization, I know that we do, get involved with them and look out for those conferences. I know that our international conference was moved online, but it's cheaper, and that way all of our members can go rather than just a few people from the e-board.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know that our conference right now for SUNY essay, they're planning something. We're not sure what, but they're planning something. So I can totally understand that. Yeah, you're definitely making a good point there that everybody will be able to go instead of some people. I like that. So some students may feel that they missed the opportunity to get involved in their first semester or year. Do you think it's ever too late to get involved? Aisha's just shaking her head. Nah.
No, it's never too late, honestly. I think I said something about like, obviously it's going to be not harder, but you're not going to have enough time as a senior to check everything out, but it's not too late to find something and get interested in so it's never too late. Never too late. Never say never. So it's again, never too late. So always try to be involved.
Yeah, I know our organization, even if you're a senior, if you come into our meetings, you're going to learn a lot about the public relations industry. And we always team up with career services to do headshots, resume, cover letters, everything that you need to get you a job. So it doesn't matter if you start when you're a freshman and you have that, or if you come in when you're a senior, you can always learn from our organization.
I agree. Like, as Corey was saying, I was shaking my head. As mentioned earlier with my freshman first year fever, I still had that. I always think there's a perfect time for anything. So for every semester, I think in my mind, like, wow, like this semester, I want to join PRSSA. Like, I would love to be in that. Or like this upcoming semester, I want to do this. And like, I always have plans for like different organizations I would love to join. And I always just feel like there's so much you can learn and so much you could do. Like, they'll always welcome you in. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me personally, like I didn't join some clubs until sophomore year, and it was completely fine. I mean, everyone, especially clubs, like we love having new people join. Like there's not going to be any clubs that are exclusive and they're like, oh, we don't want you because you're a junior or senior. Like clubs generally love having new people join and getting to know the stuff they do in their club. So it's never too late.
Yeah, and even then, you don't have to join any certain clubs. Like, I'm a film major and I am in the film club, but I'm also a journalism major and I love HerCampus, but I'm not one of them at the moment. So club experiences don't always have to be related to your major. Like, obviously, I'm in student government. I am not political science at all, at all. But how has your involvement during your time in Oswego helped you reach your career goals?
I would say I joined PRSSA when I was a freshman, and I've had a few like wacky semesters where I was like abroad or something, and I just feel like I've learned so much from the organization, and it's opened so many networking opportunities. Even the people that you meet, the professors you meet, the alumni, I'm in contact with a lot of alumni in like New York City because we took a trip down there. And I would not have had that opportunity and these internship opportunities if I hadn't gone on that event and reached out to them. So it's helped me so much. I love this organization. I can't tell you how much.
I agree that I feel like organizations can help you so much like in the real world too. Like for HerCampus, it actually is like a national office that you can like get a job in like LA and like New York City, Boston. So like being in this organization, it's become like my dream job. Like I would love to work there. So for me, like it really opened up my eyes for like different possibilities for my future. But also just in general, I feel like any organization or anything you do in college, as long as you really like market it and really like show in any resume or interview like why it like shaped who you are, why it was important to you, what you learned, I think it's always beneficial.
Right. I don't have any internships or careers right now related to my major or the activities I've done, but I know that these activities are going to look good on a resume and also help teach you skills. To go off what Corey said, also having clubs that aren't related to your major, like maybe you're a biology major and you want to join the film club, maybe joining that club will make you realize, oh, maybe I want to go into this career instead. And no matter what activity you do, you're going to have, you're going to learn skills that will help you in life, no matter what activity you do, whether it's sports, like being part of a team and operating with team members is great to help you for a work environment. And you're going to learn like a variety of different skills no matter what organization you join. So you really can't go wrong with that.
And as a psychology major in the psychology club, like we do a lot of activities where we can figure out what, like we go with different careers, either clinical psychology or biopsychology, certain stuff like that. So I have an idea over where I want to focus more, and being around with other psychology students. And you don't have to be a psychology major to join psychology club, but being around other my fellow peers, seniors that already took classes that I'm taking, it's giving me like a little family where I can rely on and see what I should do, like where I should go, and like really like focus my energy on what I want to do, focus my energy on what part I want to do with psychology. That makes sense.
I also want to add really quick, being in organization is great because you can also like social network and like add people to your LinkedIn and like things that kind of realm that I think like that's also really helpful.
Yeah, that's true. The connections that you really make are truly what are going to get you places. And even then, like you always will hear that jobs will want to see a resume that's more well-rounded. They care about what you do in the classroom, but they also care what you do outside of the classroom. So why not make it count and join a club or an organization? Well, finally, what are some of your guys' recommendations you can give to students who are watching this webinar in terms of student involvement, whether it be a student officer or students who are looking to join an organization?
I think for freshmen, just don't be afraid to try new things. Like the worst case scenario, which I have a lot, is I get involved in too many things. But the worst case scenario, you just like switch to a different club or maybe drop one of your clubs. But it's also okay to be involved in more than one club. Like right now, I'm in the e-board of 2 clubs. I was in WMYO. I tried a bunch of different things. If it doesn't work, I can drop it and add a new one. But you can be involved in as many things as you want, even if it doesn't pertain to your major. So just don't be afraid to try new things and get yourself out there. And also ask for help if you want to learn about new clubs or anything like that.
I agree with what Julia said, where like anything that you're in, like you can always drop or whatnot. Or what I always like to think is like maybe this semester, like is your break, and like next semester you'll come back. They will always welcome you in. Like my first semester, I was in the main stage musical, so like HerCampus, I couldn't go to any of the meetings, but I still like submitted articles, I did a little social media, so it was kind of like a mix. And I know clubs are always welcoming back, but for first year students, a big like tip I know a lot of them love to do is like maybe join an organization with a friend. I know it'll be fun to be like, oh, Tuesdays, that's our meeting, like me and Jessica, we're going, like that's our bonding thing. I know everyone loves doing that. And then, but it's also good to like do it by yourself, because then you'll have like different groups of like people that you love to hang out with. So whichever way is just always like the perfect way to join an organization.
And also from a personal experience, don't be afraid to, if you're passionate about a certain club and you know you have ideas to bring to the table, don't be afraid to run for e-board positions and all that, because don't think that a higher, what's called, just because freshman or sophomore, don't think a senior should be in president. If you know you have a lot of ideas to bring, don't think, oh, I'm gonna wait a couple years later. If you want to do it now, just do it. Like Julia said, don't be afraid to try new things and all that.
Yeah, and even then, if your friend doesn't like the club anymore, maybe you'll stay. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, I think that we've talked about the benefits of joining organizations, whether they pertain to your major or not. You're going to make friends, you're going to meet new people on campus, whether you're a freshman or a senior. There's a lot of people on the campus, believe it or not. So there's always a reason to join an organization.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, I joined SA with one of my friends, and although she didn't stay, I did. So now we're going to move to questions that are being asked live. Let's see if we've got any of those.
Everyone, if you want to submit your question, or if you want to like ask the panel anything, you can send a message in the group chat and then we can read it, or we can also unmute you so that you can ask the question. And we can do that for like a couple of minutes. Okay, so we have a question right here. So someone who's in the webinar right now with us is asking, to run for a position for the e-board, how is that taken care of? So if you guys who are current e-board members, how is the process of you know, interviewing for when you apply for a position within your organization?
Go ahead. I don't know who started.
I would say it's probably different for every organization, so it's going to depend on which one you want to join. I know for us specifically, we kind of just reach out to our members. Any members can join the e-board, and they kind of submit why they're interested, what can they bring to the organization, what experience do they have that can back them up in that position. And then we let our members vote in. So it's the organization. It's not like you're appointed or anything like that.
Yeah, for us, this year was a little different because of COVID, but we basically sent out an email for the open positions. If we had, I know my friend, she was a secretary last year, so she moved up to vice president, so they can do that. And if there's any open positions, then we sent out an email to everybody else, and then if you want to try for that position, you reply, and then we had a Zoom meeting talking about the different positions, and we basically had a vote. So that's how we did it for the psychology club.
I know for HerCampus, there's like a form that we have online that like you go through the like bio, the link, and then you go through it, and it basically says like, oh, like what can you bring, like a bunch of different questions that you fill out, and then like our presidents, because we have two, they will like pick who's like most like who has the most credentials for it, who has the most ideas, etc., in that kind of realm. But in our organization, we're very tight knit, so it's kind of like, you know, like who's gonna fit best, because we all work together. So like even though I'm like PR media management, like I still work with everyone. Like I'll always accept everyone's ideas. And I will speak about like another organization for anyone interested in like Greek life. I am an Alpha Phi Omega. I'm their secretary, and that one's a little more formal. It's like making a speech, like doing the speech in front of everyone, getting enough votes, like things in that kind of realm. And I know certain organizations or other Greek lives may be like that too. So there's different formats.
Right. I agree that every club is different. Like everyone has a different way of managing it. Some club is kind of up in the air. Like generally you just, you'll usually give a speech of what you want to do for the club, how you can help the club, why you're good for that position, and then there will be a voting system. But I do agree that like each club has kind of a different way of going about it. But if you're interested, you should definitely try out for it no matter what system you have.
And to add on, you obviously need to stay active in the club. You can't be coming 2 days or in the semester and want to run for a board position. So you will have to be an active member, and you know, if you have good ideas, different like a different perspective for the club, then yeah, definitely.
So awesome. Just one thing, I think your answers were really great. And, for everyone who's watching this, a good way to find out open positions for different clubs is also through social media. I know that I follow a lot of different social media, clubs on Instagram, and they're constantly posting, on their stories and an actual post saying, hey, we have this open position if you're interested in applying. They will tell you most of the time how to apply, when is the deadline. So you can also be in the lookout for that. Awesome. So do we have any more questions for the panel? If anyone wants to ask anything else, don't be shy. You can submit your question and I'll read it. Okay, then, so we're gonna close this webinar. I wanna say thank you to the amazing panel that we've had today. Really amazing, strong female leaders that we have on our campus, leading in so many organizations that I've personally, follow on Instagram, and I know what you guys are up to. So it's really amazing to see how you are going to really overcome this, difficult situation. And for anyone who's watching as well, don't be discouraged. Every organization is working really hard to do the best that they can to, provide this welcoming environment for incoming students and returning students who are trying to get involved, and, still give you that experience that you want to have when you join a college. And because student involvement is also part of this whole experience of getting a degree and going away 7 hours from your home and joining a college and starting from zero. So I want to say thank you everyone for the amazing answers that we've had, the amazing input and tips that you gave today. And for anyone who's watching, we really hope that this is helping you, whether you are an incoming student or you are an officer for a different organization when we come back from the fall. So with all of this, I want to say thank you to Corey as well and everyone who joined the live. And yes, that would be all. So just one more thing for everyone who's here and anyone who's going to be watching this video. We do have part 2 of Get Involved at OS coming up next week. And we're going to be sending out the flyer very soon. We also have an amazing lineup of other student leaders from our campus. So it's going to be, another great conversation about why you should be involved. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night, a good rest of your week. And yes, bye-bye.
Thank you.